Okay, why is anti-Semitism, anti-Israel, such an attractive option for young people in today's society? And what should we do about it?
The reason it's a popular option is because it's an easy option. There's very little consequence. You start up with most people, there's going to be pushback. You start up with the Jews, who's going to defend them? It's just easy. Anti-Semitism is just easy, or to say it in more critical words, it's intellectual laziness. There are few things that are easier for a person to adapt than an anti-Jewish philosophy, because we are one. There is no caucus of Jewish nations. There is no group or assemblage of Jewish peoples. We're one of the smallest nations in the world. We're scattered all over the world. We've been this way for a very long time. We're a very easy target. We're a very, very, very big target, an overt target. It's just easy. I think anti-Semitism is just easy. Because if you're the kind of person who lets other people think for themselves, that's what you're going to think. And it takes critical thinking and objective thinking to appreciate, number one, how wrong it is. Number two, how dangerous it is, not just for the Jewish people. Anti-Semitism is always the tip of the spear. Behind anti-Semitism becomes all kinds of biases and all kinds of hatreds. And it starts out with words. It always starts out with words. But it frequently doesn't end with words. And that's very, very serious. And it's cowardly. It's easy. And it's popular. And it seems so justified. It seems so righteous. And it's just foolish. It's just very, very simple. And if we don't become overly frightened by it, if we don't become overly consumed by it, it doesn't have any traction. If we define ourselves by it, we nourish it, we feed it. You take practical steps to deal with anti-Semitism. And being afraid is not one of them. You do what you have to do. And you don't even make a big deal out of it. You make a big deal out of being a Jew, not defending yourself for being a Jew. And I think if there's a lesson to be learned from Purim, it is the more proud a Jew is of himself, the less the non-Jew will hate him. And unfortunately, so much of our Jewish culture is about Jewish people doubting themselves, questioning their own righteousness and their own right to exist, and however you want to frame it. And that nourishes anti-Semitism. It feeds it. It almost invites it, because you're sort of saying, yeah, I deserve it. If Jewish people don't apologize who they are and they're proud to be different, I think it dispels anti-Semitism. And one last thing that I think is true in the modern world more than at any other time, people will say, and I agree with it, that hatreds are frequently fomented or fomented where there is ignorance. The more people understand about the Jewish people, the less likely they are to develop an animus based on ignorance. We have to explain to people who we are. And not to explain people who we are, meaning how we're like them, but how we're the nation of God. And I think that would contribute to making the anti-Semitism less.
What is the best response from Jews in the diaspora to the war in Israel?
This is our war. And we're warriors. We have to be a part of this. We can never feel dissociated. We're not allowed to feel far away. And I think it's such a deep issue. To give you contrast, okay, one of the stories of the Holocaust, which is so tragic, is the American Jewish apathy. And I'm not saying this to be judging. I'm saying this as a matter of fact. American Jews didn't know what was happening in Europe, didn't associate to their brethren that were going through what's going on in Europe. And it was almost like it's happening to somebody else. By contrast, leading up to and during the Six-Day War, there was an incredible sense of Jewish unity. I'm not finding the right word. Every Jew in the world felt personally threatened by the imminent threat of that war. And every Jew felt personally vindicated, like a personal victor, when we experienced that incredible victory in 6 days, I think now there's a bit of a mixed bag. I think in some ways the Jewish people are similar to the mood that existed during the 6-day war. It's certainly true in Israel. The mood of the Jewish people in Israel is historically unified. It's unified the way it was in the time leading up to and during the 6-day war. I think in the diaspora there's a little bit less of that, especially as this war unfortunately goes on and on and on. This is our war. We're being attacked, we're being killed, and we have to defend ourselves. And we don't have to apologize to defend ourselves. We don't need to constantly say, I'm sorry for existing. We have to defend ourselves. We have to do what we need to do. My one word, if I had to stand in front of the White House and make a protest, my sign would say one word: finish. If the Jewish people finish one war, but finish, they'll never fight another one. We're never allowed to finish, and we never have the desire to finish. You have to see it through. You have to finish it. You'll save not just Jewish lives, you'll save untold numbers of Arab lives.
Beautiful. All right. That's a wrap.
Okay.